but he's going to be playing through some discomfort in that foot, I think, potentially for the whole season.
Yeah.
The Chargers are dealing with injuries to their most valuable player, quarterback Justin Herbert, and head coach Jim Harbaugh's past is starting to come back to haunt him.
I did not participate, was not aware, nor complicit in those said allegations.
It keeps getting worse for the Los Angeles Chargers. They just cannot catch a break. We're gonna break this down. A lot of people ignored the injuries that Justin Herbert has had throughout his career. Keep in mind, in 2022, in a matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, Justin Herbert suffered a rib cartilage fracture injury. Now, in that season, Justin Herbert would not miss a game and the Chargers would end up making the playoffs in 2022. But a lot of people wondered how good could that season have been if he was not dealing with that cartilage fracture in his ribs throughout the entire season. He still had great passing yards that year, but it was the worst touchdown interception ratio of his career and also the worst QB rating of his career. In 2023, Justin Herbert was doing great for the majority of the season until late in the year when he suffered a finger injury. This finger injury would cause him to miss the final 4 games of the regular season for the LA Chargers. And this was bad timing because right before the 2023 season, he had signed a 5-year extension worth $252 million. Backup quarterback Easton Stick tried to fill in for him and famously had a terrible game against the Las Vegas Raiders, where the Raiders literally broke their franchise record in points against Brandon Staley and the Chargers, and this caused Staley to get immediately fired after the game.
Do you expect to be the coach here tomorrow?
I don't know that.
Do you think you should be?
Yes.
So coming into 2024, the Chargers decided to go all in and sign the former Michigan head coach and San Francisco 49ers head coach, Jim Harbaugh. This contract was massive, a 5-year deal worth $16 million a year. So this franchise has decided to go all in on Herbert and Harbaugh, expecting results right here, right now. Because Justin Herbert is no longer a really young guy like he was when he entered the league in 2020. Justin Herbert is now 26 years old, gonna be 27 next year, and he's right now in his prime. He's gotta try to win a bowl right now or it's probably never gonna happen. And it seems like Harbaugh's plan for Herbert this year was for him to use his legs. That's why he hired offensive coordinator Greg Roman, who famously worked with Jim Harbaugh and the San Francisco 49ers and helped Colin Kaepernick play at an elite level. Greg Roman most recently worked with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens as their offensive coordinator under the brother of Jim Harbaugh, John Harbaugh. So it's quite clear based on the resume of this offensive coordinator, the plan is for Justin Herbert to be utilized like a true dual threat quarterback. But this plan has come to a screeching halt as Justin Herbert suffered an injury in training camp in early August. The quarterback was diagnosed with a plantar fasciitis injury to his right foot, and now he's in a walking boot for at least 2 weeks. And this is a big deal because the first game of the regular season is 4 to 5 weeks away. So Justin Herbert is roughly going to only have 2 weeks to practice after he gets that boot off. And according to Adam Schefter and several NFL insiders, he's going to be ready for week 1, but the consensus is this is going to be an injury that lingers and bothers him throughout the entire year.
This is the type of injury that stays with a player for a long period of time. He may be back for the regular season opener. That may be the expectation, but he's going to be playing through some discomfort in that foot, I think, potentially for the whole season.
Yeah.
This is a huge deal because it completely changes the game plan for the LA Chargers this year. Justin Herbert, without a doubt, is not going to be able to be that mobile quarterback that everyone thought he was going to be this year. This is also disappointing because the quarterback has been dealing with injuries for 3 consecutive years. And when you look at the LA Chargers as a whole, they always get struck with the injury bug. On top of that, you have bad news for Jim Harbaugh based on his past at Michigan. In the 2023 season with the Michigan Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh was suspended not once, but twice. The first time he was suspended for recruiting violations, and then the second time he was suspended for the Michigan Wolverines football sign stealing scandal. Keep in mind, the Michigan staffer Connor Stalions, who resigned after the scandal and pretty much had the entire thing pinned on him as Jim Harbaugh denied being involved in the sign stealing that helped the Michigan Wolverines. This guy is now opening up and telling his side of the story in a Netflix documentary. And I have a feeling he's not going to say too many nice things about Jim Harbaugh.
If I'm a bad guy, then everyone in football is a bad guy.
However, while Jim Harbaugh was suspended in 2023, offensive coordinator of Michigan, Sharon Moore, filled in as the head coach. And let me just say, it was pretty emotional for the guy.
Oh, that Coach Harbaugh, I love you, man. Love the shit out of you, man. This is for you.
But we have some more issues happening with this Michigan scandal that could affect Jim Harbaugh, and it is the fact that the NCAA released a notice of allegations about Michigan's new head coach, Sharon Moore, and they are claiming that he violated NCAA rules related to the investigation into the football program's sign-stealing scandal. He's accused of deleting 50 text messages around the time that the investigation was opened, and the text messages were with Connor Stalions, the guy who's going to be in that Netflix documentary. Jim Harbaugh himself could face level 1 violations by the NCAA, and keep in mind that is the highest level of violation. He was asked about this scandal at a press conference today, and what he said was absolutely ridiculous.
Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I have raised my family on that lesson. I have preached that lesson to the teams that I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize and you make it right. Today, I do not apologize. I did not participate, was not aware, nor complicit in those said allegations.
So Jim Harbaugh does this weird grandstanding saying that he never lies, never cheats, and he's trying to deny these allegations outright, which is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody in NFL media will be real about this because they want to get interviews with Jim Harbaugh, they want to cozy up to him because the guy's a big shot making $16 million a year. But in my opinion, it's absolutely ridiculous for him to act like he knew nothing about the sign-stealing scheme that helped benefit Michigan while he was coaching there. You mean to tell me that your offensive coordinator and assistant was just doing this on their own and not doing it to help out the head coach? We're supposed to believe that Jim Harbaugh is just so stupid that he could not notice his staff committing these level 1 violations. And you could tell Jim Harbaugh is worried about this. When he was responding to the question, you could see him looking at notes. He had a prepared statement here. But the big question is, what's going to happen? Is he going to face any punishment? Last year in late October, Ian Rappaport and NFL insiders said that Harbaugh may face some discipline from the NFL for these NCAA violations. And this has happened before. Terrell Pryor, who was at Ohio State and then joined the Raiders through the supplemental draft, well, he faced a 5-game suspension because he sold memorabilia at Ohio State. So he was able to be punished in the NFL for what he did in college, and it seems like the same thing could be happening to Jim Harbaugh. Unless, of course, the NFL is going to let it slide because they want Harbaugh there on the sideline, driving up all those big ratings on television for Chargers fans and the entire NFL world. But I think other teams around the NFL who want a competitive advantage against Jim Harbaugh are going to be pounding the table for some discipline against him. Even if he had no idea that his staff was doing sign stealing, he still could be disciplined because it happened under his watch. He missed the misconduct. If I was the Chargers, I would take the discipline now because you already have the Justin Herbert injury in the background, which is going to make this season rough. Plus, this is the first year for the Chargers without wide receiver Keenan Allen, who is now with the Chicago Bears, and Caleb Williams, and also the first year without wide receiver Mike Williams, who is now on the New York Jets, but still currently coming back from injury. The Chargers' former first-round pick, Quentin Johnson, has been struggling in training camp, and now it seems like they're going to be relying on DJ Chark, a veteran journeyman wide receiver, and Ladd McConkey, the former Georgia Bulldog. On paper, there's no denying this is the worst wide receiver core that Justin Herbert has had to work with in his entire career. On the bright side, the Chargers do look to be having a good offensive line, and edge defender Khalil Mack recently reached number 38 on the NFL Top 100 list. So despite the fact that the former Raider and Chicago Bear is 33 years old, he is still producing at a high level. Chargers fans have to be concerned. They are facing the Raiders week 1. And with all these problems stacking up just 4 to 5 weeks before the start of the regular season, Jim Harbaugh could be facing an L for his first game of his career against a rookie head coach. And that's going to be a really bad look for Jim Harbaugh, a guy who has all this experience, losing to somebody who barely got their first head coaching opportunity in week 1. We'll see if these problems for the LA Chargers continue to grow. As of right now, it's not looking good. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.